Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Connected, ready to record, good to go.
Are we connected? Are we really connected?
I am connected. You literally just said you're ready, and falsely claimed that you were waiting for me.
Are we connected? Like, are we in sync? Simpatico? Are you with me?
Nah, the podcast wouldn't be doing great if we were connected, Phil. We need to be disconnected to allow for distributed musings and thoughts and understandings. This episode may contain a lot of rambling. It is what it is.
Rambling-ish Thursdays are back.
We back, baby. Some of you will recognize the reference. Others of you will be like, what? All I can say is don't search for it on Twitter. Anyway, Phil, why are you not at Shoko Festival, buddy?
Because we have a podcast to record.
Yeah, you see, we should have been. We should have been there. I tried to get I tried to get Phil to do a live episode from Shoko Festival, but he was just not interested. Not interested.
It's cool. You know, I've got the text. You know, like when you send a text, right? A record is kept on your phone. I can literally just share that record with the people.
I could feel the negativity from your replies when I suggested it.
I was even at there earlier and I said, let's do it. And you're like, oh, no, what? No, man, I was joking. No, what? Oh, my God, no.
You got to surround yourself with people that believe in the vision. All right. Let's not waste too much time. This by force. We gotta keep it tight. Keep it tight, Phil. So
that's what girls say all the time.
I gotta ask, are y'all? I missed fat finger problem. What I meant to say was, are y'all
good to go?
Are y'all
good to go?
Sound a big thing now. Let me hear a drum play.
Let's go. We are walking to the show. It's the more you know.
Producer, make sure you adjust. Make sure everything is adjusted, for normalization. Otherwise, right. One day. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. This be Two Broke Twimbos. My name is none other than Danny That Guy, aka Denford Wekumaraini, aka Denimbi My Life Your Entertainment, aka Danos the Mad Titan, aka we've got a month to send in our firearms, Philip, aka Hakuna Mumendi Danmu.
That's right. It's unmistakable, irrefutable, unquestionable, undeniable. Which I think flip off the big boss, baby, get pizza P, get Elon Musk, get Phil, Sexington Lovo, and of course, I'm going to drink. What do you mean a month to send in our firearms? What's happening?
Did you not see, Phil? The government has made an announcement. Well, I don't know if it's government or ZRP. They've made an announcement that there's an amnesty for 1 month exactly, 30 days, where you can hand in your firearms, no questions, no explanations needed. Just hand in your firearms. We don't even want to know where you got it from.
Yeah, that's going to go over well.
In a bid to reduce the amount of firearms violence that is happening in the country. Now,
also, there's a very specific group of people that have reduced access to firearms.
So that's
like a rocket scientist to realize. So I feel like this just might be. You know what? Let's just make sure that this is like stock take. Like, guys, we looked at the armory and we came up with short. So just to make things simpler, no questions. Just bring it back.
Wait, why am I mixing? Oh, okay, it doesn't matter anyway. It's a little bit of a concern, Phil, because I was having this debate with someone today. Exactly what you're saying. Who are the people who you think have the firearms? Then it reminded me of a debate that I saw about a mass shooting that happened in Australia. The government did the same thing. They announced a huge amnesty, everyone bring in your firearms, and people came in their droves and they dropped off tens of thousands of weapons. And
I believe that was following a mass shooting.
Yes.
A school shooting shook the nation. Yes.
Indeed. So, sometimes you try things, and sometimes you want to see if it'll work or it won't work. So anyway, let's get the show started. We like to celebrate Zimbabweans doing big things around the world to kick the show off, and it's a way for us to also have some positivity early on in the show. So let me start off by mentioning a couple of people. First of all, heading over to South Africa, where we have a beloved Zimbabwean authors who have been recognized in the recently announced 2025 Sunday Times Literary Awards long list. Now, I did not know, but apparently this is a prestigious award in the book world. And long listed are a couple of Zimbabweans, including Su Nyati, as well as Sipiwe Gloria Ndlovu, both long listed for this prestigious award out of South Africa.
Nice.
So shout out to you. Obviously listed alongside several of South Africa's literary elite. Big ups to you.
Sound it out, baby. Sound it out.
Tylenol. And then
Johnny had 5 apples.
And then I want to shout out podcast fave. Okay, I don't know if he's podcast fave. Dance fave, Munya Chawawa, who was announced in a new comedy on Channel 4 with Bridgerton star Charitra Chandran.
Oh, that's that hot girl.
Yeah. So it's the comedy is called Schooled. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, it will be very interesting. In fact, there's I'm looking at the cast over here. I recognize some of these people. I've seen them in things.
That's usually how TV goes. You should recognize some of the people. Yes.
Okay, this dude is from Black Mirror. This chick is from The Crown. Okay, cool. So apparently it's a pretty star-studded comedy called School.
Now A-list. He's crossing.
Shout out to Munya, man. Munya Chawawa doing his thing, man. And still has time. Well, these days, I guess he's too swamped because he used to do things twice per day. But now, we're lucky if we get once a week. But shout out to Munya as well. Apart from that, look, Zimbabweans haven't been doing much this week, Phil. We've been quiet. Before we go further,
What do you mean? Well, okay, the Athletics Championships were last week. No, but then the final was last week. We finished 7th in the final.
Yes.
But that was last week.
What do you think of the okay, I think I'll already know what you're going to say, but let me just ask anyway for the purpose of the podcast. So the Daily News put out an article immediately afterwards. Let me read the headline for you. The headline says, Zimbabwean sprinter Tapiwanashe Makarau failed in his bid for a global medal yesterday, finishing 7th in the men's 200-meter final at the ongoing World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan.
So, is that the social media?
No, that's the referral thing that they put on the social media.
Oh, here's the other thing, because also Daily News is banned a paywall, so I don't read the article. Did you manage to see the article?
No. I mean, they posted it on their page, on their official Daily News page.
No. I get that because I saw that. What I'm saying is, what's the content of the article itself?
Oh, I mean, it's obviously talking about the athletics itself, but I didn't watch I didn't read the article.
Because sometimes the article can be obfusive and very praiseworthy, and then the headline is just to grab attention, because ultimately the headline it's done its job. We're talking about the headline. So the headline is...
No, come on.
No, I'm actually being fair. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, what's the content of the article? I think that's a fair question. Is the headline not great, but it's also a clickbait. It's a clickbait headline, so it worked because we're talking about it.
Yeah, okay. Along the same lines, here's a headline that was on ZFM's news this week.
Iowa, let's talk about the story. Why are we talking about
it's similar. I'll share it here, and then it will be along the same sort of lines. In the news this week, On ZFM, this was literally the headline: Chabangu in bloody Mazoe killing as artisanal miners butcher man to death. Okay, I don't know how familiar you are with local politics. Are you familiar with the name Chabangu?
No.
Okay, so shall we call him a divisive figure in the opposition? Allegedly, okay, not really in the opposition. He says he's in the opposition. Some people, divisive political figure. The story is actually about some other random person with the same name who was involved in mining killings. You know, I posed some questions and someone said something very similar to you that no, I mean, the headline did its job. It got people interested in the story. The story will then reveal everything else. So it's along the same lines. So I don't know what the story is, but I am absolutely not a fan of clickbait. Even for media, even for newspapers, even the reasoning, I understand if the reasoning is I want to attract attention. So I put out this headline. When I know people will click on the link, then they read the article and it's something else. To me, that's sneaky. And it long term, what it does is create a feeling of mistrust or distrust towards your publication or towards your platform. And long term, people won't like it. Others disagree. That news has changed. It's all about attention. It's attention economy. So right now, what we need to do is do whatever we can to get your attention and then be factual and accurate in the actual story. I disagree with that, but some people feel that's the situation. So guess I know how you feel about it.
Okay. Now you're being obtuse.
I am not at all, but go ahead.
2 seconds. I'm just loading this up. Okay, so Daily News doesn't even allow you to use reader mode. Jeez Louise. I was just confirming if the headline I have here is correct. So I'm on Press Reader.
Mm-hmm.
The Press Reader story this is Chronicle. It's not Daily News. Sorry. Daily News is no longer. Actually, never mind. Daily News is not on Press Reader anymore. It kept coming. Okay, never mind.
Here's the headline in Daily News was Global Glory evades Makarao. The opening line: Zimbabwean sprinter Taperonashe Makarao failed in his bid for a global medal yesterday, finishing 7th in the men's 200-meter final at the World Athletics Championships.
That byline and that headline are fair. I think it was just social media clickbait, but also considering the blowback, they're obviously not going to get a Makarao interview anytime in the near future. So, and was it worth it? Also, considering the state of media globally and the media in Zimbabwe, I understand it. I agree with you. I agree. Clickbait is terrible. It leads to distrust. It's sneaky. It's underhanded. But I get it. It's like you can't report it. It is what it is. I don't approve of it, but I understand it. Which is why I wanted to read the full article just to see what the tone of the actual article is. The article itself, the way it starts off, it doesn't sound like it's very negative. The social media tag was negative, but the social media tag was negative. That's probably the most engagement Daily News has got on its page in a while. So the month when the social media manager is pulling in his reports, going to be like, guys, there was a big spike there. And then the boss will be like, yeah, we're done, bad.
So, okay, I'm shameless self-plug. I actually train media organizations on digital transformation. And this is a hot button discussion point where we often discuss with editors and so on about the concept of the question of clickbait and misleading headlines, et cetera, et cetera. Every possible study of anyone who's done anything credible in the matter shows that the short-term spike in clicks is absolutely not worth long-term loss of trust. At best, even if this was their most wildly successful article in years, it's at best $100, $150 in Google Ads revenue. There's no way it's worth making people feel a negative feeling towards your platform. Because what sticks in people's minds is, that's that article. Even if it's not factual, even if the article was actually very praisey of Makarao, what people will remember is, that's that newspaper that was dissing our sprinter. And long term, yes, you lose subscribers, you struggle to gain relevance. Obviously, it doesn't happen with a single headline. It happens if that's the general culture. that the idea is we're trying to put in place headlines that will grab people's attention. Doesn't matter if they are immediately kind of misleading. It does matter. But anyway.
Now we have a debate. So just so I understand your position, you are saying in the long term, it's bad for a publication, particularly a local publication, Zimbabwean publication, to make their bread and butter negative headlines.
No, not at all. So obviously there's a room for every type of publication. There's tabloids and gossip rags that exist, and they can be popular. There's hard-hitting, hard news, which is like political and so on. There's more lifestyle and lighter news. Obviously, each type of publication, each type of content is going to have different strategies. So certain publications may have strategies to use clickbait and negative things because their goal is, they have a different goal to someone who's trying to build a dedicated audience for hard-hitting news. Hard-hitting news requires trust. Gossip doesn't require trust. It needs scandal. So you actually even contribute to the scandal. In fact, part of your goal is even to create a little bit of scandal because that gives you a certain level. People actually go to your platform expecting scandal. And that works because that's your strategy. If you try to mix those things, then it will never work. So if you are hard news, we are aiming to build an audience that trusts us to deliver news about things that might be sensitive or things that might be difficult to understand. And then you go the route of what a gossip rag would do or what a tabloid would do, you lose all the trust that you would have built up over months, years, etc. Vice versa, if you're a tabloid and your entire goal is to create scandal and controversy, but you decide that no, we're actually going to just be factual and accurate and we're not going to make sure, you also lose. So there's obviously no blanket answer across the board. But for an organization like the Daily News, who have positioned themselves over years, and maybe in recent years it's changed, but over years they've positioned themselves as this is where we do serious political news. If you start going down that route of just clickbait, and this, to be honest, this is mild. So I'm not trying to, this is relatively mild. I kind of agree with you in the sense that the headline I read was slightly leaning in a negative direction, but it wasn't like overly sensational. In my mind, this is just kind of noted. And we're discussing it only because it became a point of discussion on the timeline. But I wouldn't consider this as being really bad or really clickbaity or anything like that. But if the culture generally starts going in that direction, yes, I do absolutely believe it's bad for the publication.
So I would say the culture's been in that direction, one. And not to cast aspersions on Daily News, but the reason why I didn't even bother clicking on the story is because I know Daily News has a paywall. I even see like they've kind of relaxed the paywall because before they never even used to let you read the byline. It was just the headline, and then, but even on that page, it's also very confusing because as you saw, Dan, the web page is littered with ads, but it's also behind a paywall. Take a struggle, guys. Jesus Christ. So I think it's safe to say Daily News is not doing too well. So whatever they can do to get attention, whatever they can do to get traffic, I'm sure they're going to try to do. So I hear what you're saying. I simply don't. And I agree with you for the most part. I just do feel that, especially in a market like this, our market is so small that this is what people do. And even in like our neighbor South Africa, you've got platforms like the Citizen, for example, or even the Sowetan, that do journalism, but also do gossip because they're trying to straddle the line between paying the bills and sharing important content. So as media continues to decline, I think this is just going to become more and more common. So people are going to try to find ways to get people to talk about them, even if it's in a negative light. And it is what it is because Daily News has paywalled their content, it's so difficult for people to even discuss it. I don't think people understand how damaging paywalling content in Zimbabwe is. It's sad. Like, obviously, everyone should be paid for their work. Like, there's time, effort, money being put into building this platform. But the way they've gone about their strategy is a mess.
I don't want to bore the audience, but have I done a lot of research, reading, conversations, training, discussions on this topic. So I'll just spend a few minutes, guys, just a couple of minutes. The global news media community mostly agree that we made a mistake when the internet launched, when the internet became a thing. the internet was viewed as like a little bit of an extra. It's just a promotion tool. Some people are on the internet, so let's see if we can try and get them to buy our newspaper. So they started delivering news for free on the internet. Obviously, as culture evolved to start making the internet the central place of consuming any kind of content, that became the default. Consumers were trained over many years to receive content for free on the internet. We are used to opening a website and all the content I want is on there. We're also used to adverts. It is what it is. But the ad economy is dying for multiple reasons, not least of which is the three super major players in the game, i.e. Google, Meta, and Amazon. But also because we are now numb to online adverts. We don't even notice them. No one ever clicks on them deliberately. Some estimates say that 60 or even more % of all online ads are clicked on by mistake. All clicks that have come through from online advertising, 60% of them are mistaken clicks. That's obviously using like the programmatic advertising that you get through like Google and all of that. So a lot of people now are sitting and saying, we made a huge mistake in training our audiences that content can be free. We should never have done that. Now, what many organizations are doing are trying to reverse that training. Notable companies like the New York Times, they literally spent a decade retraining their audiences that online content is not free. The same way that you would buy a newspaper, you must also buy the news. And they struggled. Their online digital sort of not department, the digital section, all right, was making huge losses for a long time as they tried to proceed with this training. So the Zimbabwean audience is similar to many audiences around the world. We are used to things for free. What I'm paying for is actually for me to access internet. I had to buy data. Now that I've got the data, everything is available to me. What? You want to charge me for something? Absolutely not. That's the current situation. Truth of the matter is, there are going to have to be some martyrs on the way to retraining people that if I want to access content, I have to pay for it. If it's free, then it's cheap. It's low value. That's what you can expect. It's going to take some people who have the balls to say, guys, we're going to lose money for a while and it's going to be rough for a long while until people are somewhat retrained. Of course, Zim has its own different concerns, shall we say. I mean, there's things like the economy and people's buying power and whether consuming content or news and all of that would be considered a priority or something that's even worth putting into the budget. So those are all the other nuances that also need to be discussed. But overall, I think it's inevitable. You have to introduce a paywall somehow. A hard paywall, I think, is not the solution, but you have to figure out something out. You can't just sit and watch. Like, it won't work. Advertising won't work long term.
So I agree with you, except I think one of the key things is you have to provide value.
Yes.
As a news outlet, as a news platform, not to cast aspersions, I don't see daily news providing value. I can't remember the last big investigation, big report that they broke, because for the most part, newspapers in Zimbabwe are just press release outlets. And this is as someone who sends out the press releases. So let me not piss off the editors who need to approve my press releases because I need to send one out today. But that is what they've become. And under the same family, we have Financial Gazette. And Financial Gazette also behind a paywall. But I will pay for Financial Gazette when I need to, because Financial Gazette has information that is pertinent, that is valuable to me. And I'm sure there are other people in business, in the working class, who pay for Financial Gazette because there's value to them. Mm-hmm. There are many individuals who pay, even in Zimbabwe. This podcast, for example, the reason we are supported by multiple people that support us in various ways, and some of them are based in Zimbabwe because they see the value and they will pay. Mm-hmm. Zimbabweans will pay if you show them value, like any other place. If they can afford to, they will pay. They will support, and that ultimately boils down to what value are you charging for, and that's the question we have. Especially when it's aggregated information, because there's no information, particularly the Makarao story. There's nothing in the daily news article that wasn't reported by a myriad of other platforms, international and local. So, from a strategic standpoint, that's also what people need to realize is people don't just go get a newspaper now to be caught up on the news. There are too many avenues providing the news. Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp. There's so many places you can get news, as you said, for free. What people will pay for is valuable news and insights. Like,
yeah, I also 100% agree with that. I think for a long time, there's a lot of, whether it's journalists or editors who sort of coasted along, there'll be something in this paper that you want. So even if it's 12 pages, you know, one of those pages will be valuable to you, so you'll buy it. The other 11 might just be full of nonsense, and still it's fine. I mean, have you read some of the articles where people are attempting to do like reporting on what we as a nation need to do to embrace AI? Or it's like, yo, what?
I've been like, as you do, I also like, I do training stuff, and I'm back in now, so doing a lot of training for, especially for creatives and people in the art sector and so forth. And like a big concern is like AI, and based on the findings that they have, and even from people who are in journalism who have written articles about it, I'm like, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? That's also, there's so much misinformation, so much disinformation. There's so few people that actually understand what it is. There's so few people that understand media literacy around it, and we even see it on Twitter these days. And it's getting to the point where it's scary. Like, how many times have you seen a post that's Grok explain this?
Yes.
Grok is this true? And people are having arguments back and forth with Grok responses, and you're like, did you guys go to school? Like, did you go to school?
There's like, you're arguing with Grok. What the heck? There's a, and I don't want to, these are people that I work with, right? But I saw conferences about AI, and I was like, yo, you guys. Anyway, it's okay.
And here's the thing. Granted, a bit of a waffleish, but I think it's important. We there's entry level, which large language models, right? And you can have entry level access to all of them, but all of those models, from my experience, are horrible.
Yes.
And they're generic. You can easily see through them. Then you've got the paid models starting around $20 a month. Much better, but not amazing. Then you've got the $200 models, which may be better. I haven't used any, so I can't speak to them. But what I do know is the large scale organizations where I do have people that I know work there, where they have their white label custom solutions that essentially act as RAG models. They're like, these are actually helpful, but it takes a lot of work to adjust your workflow to it. Like, if your data documentation and your data capture is wrong in your organization, you're wasting your time with AI. You're just spitting out generic responses. And I was explaining this to someone that I was working with. Do you know how, like, for this year alone, just in data capturing, for AI to give me any semblance of actual value, I have to document everything. So every meeting I have with clients, every brainstorm session, every daily plan that I write out in my journal, I've got to scan and document it and give it as much contextual information as possible, so that it gives me something that makes sense. The moment I deviate even a smidge off, it just gives me generic answers, and I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time. I could have just done this faster myself.
Yeah.
Which is why you've seen in there've been recent headlines about, I think they said about 70% of companies that have started using AI haven't managed to implement a system yet. So there was a bit of panic saying about there's a bubble, which is true. There is an AI bubble, but also enterprise solutions take 12 to 18 months to implement because these enterprises are big. But also, on top of just implementing it, you have to set up your organization to be congruent with the system. And I don't think people understand that. It's very easy, and granted, Dan was joking about it off mic. We're not going to discuss it, but it's very easy for us to see AI generated content because all the telltale signs are there. You don't need to run it through like a data, like a checker order. It's just there's no actual narrative. There's no value in the statement. Humans don't write like this. You're using obfusive terms. groundbreaking, excellent. What's that other one? Delve.
Like,
Sorry, I just want to finish my point.
yeah,
The
go ahead.
reason I bring this up, sorry, is when you're not doing a conference on AI, how many of the people that are attending that conference have paid accounts for these platforms that you're giving seminars on? Because they can't, there's no way that they're getting any value from it if they're not using it in that form or fashion.
I feel like going back to that initial conversation about media, right? And I guess tying it in even to all these conversations about AI, ultimately, that's kind of true of every industry. Even if you manage to skate by for a while, ultimately, because the world's become so small, you have to provide value. I'll give you, so, okay. I need to upgrade my phone, right? So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this happen through international, through whatever the plan is? And I thought, you know what, maybe I should also be looking locally. A quick glance at the official places locally, just a quick glance is like, yeah, no. Once upon a time, that would have been my only option. But I have multiple options. So you can't just get by with just doing whatever. You have to go out of your way to figure out how to provide value. Your issue is transporting and logistics and whatever. So because of that reason, I have to increase the price. Well, you better find a solution of how to reduce that price, because otherwise no one's going to buy. Maybe some people will buy for now because, from a company perspective, you got to use a registered company. Fine. Okay, you're going to make some money buying or selling at like official places locally. But if you are double the price of someone making plan B from external, and I'm not even talking about gray market. I'm talking about if there's people who can figure out value, you're in trouble, guys. You're in trouble. So same with media. If you're literally going on ChatGPT, write me a story about this, copy paste, put it in the article. You've now put up you feel you've put up news. Now we must charge people to read our news. Come on, bro. Come on. Aye. Anyway, so quick aside. Something I wanted to mention early on in the podcast, Phil, and let me just take advantage of the time to mention it now. I wanted to open the podcast with just a quick mention of someone who we lost this week, Babongile Skonjwa, a radio personality who was started off in Bulawayo, and then he came this side. He was on, I think it was Star FM. Then we just got news that he just suddenly died over the weekend. So that was very sad. Very beloved in Bulawayo, very well known. I feel like everyone knew him in Bulawayo and even in Harare when he came here. I knew him pretty well as well. I mean, well enough in the industry. So yeah, that was very sad news, and it was sad to hear the idea of sudden death. So yeah, sad news out there, and really just sending out love and consideration to his close friends and family. I heard news today, I believe, that he's going to get a state-assisted funeral, which is interesting, I guess. I wonder what the criteria is for that, but yeah. So just thought to mention that quickly. And then some things to follow up on, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Philip, last week we spoke on the story of singer David, aka D4Vid, who, if you'll recall, inside a car registered to him, a Tesla, in the trunk of that Tesla, they found the decomposing remains of a dismembered girl, aged 15. They later on were able to determine the identity of that person in there, and it was a young lady by the name of Celeste Rivas. And Celeste had been missing for over a year at the point of her death, and it created this whole craze on the internet because people started putting two and two together, picking up old pictures, old streaming videos, old references in Discord servers and on Reddit to try and figure out what is it that went on. There was so little confirmed. As of now, there's no definitive proof that Celeste and David knew each other. But circumstantial proof in mountains. Everything from similar tattoos to references in music to social media discussions to outlines of
They're
pictures.
naming him as the boyfriend.
Yeah, the mom's saying that she had a boyfriend named David. Blurry pictures with people that look like the two of them, or you can tell that it's him, but not quite sure if it's her. Tons of stuff like that, all of which individually is circumstantial, but in my opinion, all put together is like the most obvious thing in the world. But I guess from the legal perspective, these kind of things need to be put together. So what it looks like is this man who at the time was 17, 18, started dating a 12, 13-year-old. And when he turned 20, she would have been 14. She died. She was discovered. I think she was discovered a day or a couple of days after she would have turned 15. So the fact that it was a decomposing body means which she died while she was still 14. So what it looks like is he is somehow involved, but there's no evidence to that yet. At the very least, he was engaging in activity with a minor, which is also its own huge story. Anyway, that's just a quick recap of where we were. We spoke about it last week. I just wanted to share some updates since last week because I have been pretty glued onto this story for some reason. I find I have this macabre fascination with it that, what the heck? This is this is messed up, yo. A couple of quick points. Number one, something that I neglected to think about last week, but I saw someone reference it on Twitter this week it was a Tesla. Teslas are surrounded in cameras and sensors. If the car was parked for a long time, it's possible that information is not on the vehicle still, but it would have been uploaded to Tesla's servers. So the information that is, at the very least, what is almost definitely available is details of when doors were open and closed the last time, when the trunk was opened and closed the last time. That information would be available. But if certain settings were turned on, if everything was in default, it's also probably very likely that there might be video, assuming maybe the car was in sentry mode or whatever the case is. So there's that evidence that apparently is being looked into. Secondly, an update is the coroners apparently finished their medical examination of the body. They never released anything. The official statement out there is cause of death is deferred. But the remains have been released to the family and there's going to be a funeral next week. So essentially the evidence from the body has been collected. I believe it's been shared with the police, but it hasn't been put out in public yet. Then there's some drama around the home that he lived in. The neighbors came out. One of the neighbors came out and spoke to press and said, oh, yeah, they were living there as a couple. Yeah, I recognized her face when she was in the news. I would see them. I hardly ever spoke to them, maybe just greetings here and there. The one time I asked him about a Tesla, which he had in the driveway, and it had like a bit of a bump on it, and I just asked about it, but I never really spoke to them. But yeah, it was definitely the two of them, and they were living together here. I just assumed they were like teenagers or something. I didn't even know he was a singer. Also, he just hasn't been seen in a long time. The rumors are that someone saw him on Fortnite and Roblox, or one of his known accounts. Roblox, as you may be aware, Phil, is it's got a reputation of being a kid's game. But I am aware that there's some adults who play it or like the mini games in it or whatever.
And there's some adults who are on there to be predators for kids.
Yeah. Anyway, these are unconfirmed rumors. Just people who say accounts that have been previously linked to him were seen in those games. Apart from that, he hasn't really been seen recently. All his tour dates have been cancelled, except for Australia in December. Tickets are still available and still on sale, and apparently being bought still as we speak. So, he canceled all the US tour dates and he canceled all the Europe tour dates that were supposed to be for October, November. December, Australia is on. So it's weird. So as of now, I assume soon the evidence that came out from the body I don't know if it will ever be public, but even if it's not public, I'm sure it'll come out. And
well, if they go to court, it will become public eventually.
Yeah.
If he is arrested and tried for this,
any evidence that's coming through from the Tesla, people are saying, and this is just commentators, not official people, just commentators are saying that they expect that the police have subpoenaed or have tried to get a subpoena for that evidence from Tesla. So, it is actually insane times over there in independent, breathy artist world.
I would say this is part of the course, not to be macabre, but, artists are known for such. I mean, just don't forget how Manson did his thing. Like, he had a lot of artists around him as well.
Also,
Polanski.
Yeah. Also, like just before we started recording, I wanted to see, what's like the latest. So I was just doing a quick search.
Really are like, what's going on there? Why
this story? No, like, I mean, it's not like I'm looking for. I came across some information maybe a couple of days ago, and then now as we're about to record, I was like, wait, let me just see what the latest is now. And this story has become the hottest, biggest story across true crime podcasts. Like, even just searching it in terms of podcasts, you'd be like, how many true crime podcasts are there? Yo!
This is where I think we have to start calling people out with this. How can you start having a true crime podcast about a case that hasn't even, the case hasn't even officially been opened?
That's, Phil. I never said factual true crime. I said true crime.
No, but
there's nothing in that name that implies that it has to be truthful.
Except the word true.
Yeah. Anyway, you say what?
I said this world we live in, bruh. Oh, guys, everyone's trying to make a quick buck.
It's actually
buy my AI course for $29.99.
Hey, things are rough, man. I don't know. We're just in such a humanity is going through a lot. We're going through a lot, but we will pull through as we always do.
Yeah. You know what? If I wasn't pregnant, I'd have a paracetamol right now. I think that would help.
Look, I don't wanna get into that headache. Let's talk about some stuff that happened this week, Phil. Give our common sense takes. Here's my common sense hot take. I think you should be allowed to pay back the money that you received if you sold your car or your house this week because you thought you were going to be part of the rapture. No questions asked, no interest. Just here's your thing back. Here's my money back. We move. Thanks, guys. Look, honest mistake.
This is what I should understand. Like, this is what I don't get about some of these religious extremists. Okay, backstory. Do the backstory. Let's do the backstory.
As a quick backstory, I believe it started on TikTok in what I believe what they call is Christian talk, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was some people who went viral on TikTok when it all started when. Okay, even if we go further back from TikTok, we go to this email that was sent across KPMG emails company-wide, which, by the way, we need to discuss the security, internal security. You really shouldn't be able to email everyone in every company, in every branch of the company.
Well, it depends. According to this, you're a junior employee. So yes, I think at a certain level,
yes,
you should have access to that because it's wild. But yeah.
Anyway, so apparently a young junior accountant at KPMG South Africa, she went and sent she sent an internal email to every single KPMG employee around the world, and that's literally tens of thousands, if not more than that, employees around the world, including, and it was basically wild, super conspiracy theory type email, including a detailed 173-page attachment that explained why we were expecting the rapture to happen this week. I didn't actually see this story first. The story I saw, actually, no, that's not true. I saw this story first, but I didn't know that it was tied to the rapture. I just saw people talking about KPMG emails. I thought it was purely a tech story. The rapture story is what happened on TikTok, where all these influencers on TikTok started explaining why they believe this week is when the rapture is going to be happening. And people really like took it. I believe there've been several times where people believe like, oh, it's this week or whatever. But this one was huge for some reason. I still think it's probably not true that of most of the stories we're seeing about, hey, Ninki sold their house, Ninki sold their car. I feel like if that happened once or twice, it's a few like super edge cases. Because ain't no way, man. Ain't no way you really went and sold your house because of a TikTok that told you it's the rapture. No ways.
Jen, are you forgetting on this podcast we've discussed people allowing their pastors to spray them with doom, allowing pastors to bath them naked in front of the whole congregation, allowing pastors to have sex with them in the back? I put nothing past human beings.
But Phil, this is from TikTok. Maybe the pastors were also saying it. I don't know.
Oh, TikTok is just the amplification platform. But you forget, like, especially now, all it takes is one TikTok and one WhatsApp group to be off to the races.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you want to talk about there after the backstory?
I just found the story hilarious. I found everything around it. Like, you skipped over like the funny parts is all these stories of people who expected the rapture. There's also obviously a bunch of people who seem to be funded or influenced by evangelicals in America, especially in South Africa, who were protesting or marching or gathering for the rapture. And then there's that video of like people all gathered in the woods. They see the sun come out. They're like, "Oh, Jesus is coming!" And then they all have to walk home. Like, what happens when they walk home? Like, how do you?
It's quiet as that. You'd be like, "Gosh, you think we miscalculated? Yeah, we might have." Oh, it's because do you do month, day, year, or do you do day, month, year? Oh, that's confusion on dating. I understand. I bet you know.
But this is, and also this isn't the first rapture we've lived through. I remember at least 2 other raptures in my lifetime. So I understand it. I just find it hilarious, especially in this day of social media. Like, there has to be someone who was talking cash money on Facebook. Like, I'm out. See, I'm going to heaven. I'm about to see Jesus. I hate all of y'all. Screw you. Blah blah blah. Dipped, and then the end times did not materialize. And now you got to come back and be like, guys, I was hacked, man. It's hackers. Oh my God, it's AI.
Yeah. No, look, guys. I am a devout Christian myself. And something that I can remind everyone is no one knows the day nor the hour. So beware of those who claim that they do.
But yeah.
While on the topic,
do you know the day and the hour?
Silent Killer. Silent Killer, the charismatic dancehall / hip-hop chanter, was denied entry into the UK.
Was he denied entry, or did you not even attempt
from home? From home. He was denied entry from home. We were discussing this in the Patreon group, right? This has been multiple times that this has happened. And there was the most ridiculous discussion because I believe, let me actually just pull up the statement that we have in our Patreon group, right? The statement that came through from the promoter, which was hilarious because apparently he was supposed to go perform at this show in the UK. The others who were supposed to perform made it, including Junior Spraga and who was the other one? Let me pull it up here. There we go. Junior Spraga and Poptain. Special thank you to them, as it was said. This came through from Turn Up events, courtesy of Prince Nathan. Hey. Hansi, however, we regret to inform you that while 3 artists were scheduled to perform, Silent Killer was unfortunately unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances beyond our control. He was unable to answer basic immigration questions as his phone was off and he had forgotten his return date to Zimbabwe.
When will people realize Silent Killer does not want to go to the UK? He keeps telling you, I don't want to go there. He keeps telling you, guys, I've been told or I've dreamt that I shouldn't go to the UK. But if you want to give me money for free, I will take it.
So this statement is hilarious to me because if I interpreted it correctly, he was applying for the visa and they asked him questions and he was like, I can't answer because I have my phone is off. All the answers are normally on my phone. That's what I assume. That's from this statement that was made, which is just so funny to me.
He doesn't want to go. He's telling you, I don't want to go.
Same thing happened back in April when he was supposed to go perform in the UK. He refused to board that flight because he said that a dream told him the flight would explode. So he locked himself in an airport toilet. Or at least,
I don't know what see.
Okay, let me put it this way. This is what the promoter said. This is what the Chucky of UK said.
A question that's off hand, but I have to ask you that.
Yeah.
Do you think Silent Killer believed in the rapture?
No, I don't think so. I have to say that from his perspective, he said later on he was doing an interview and he said, no, actually the reason I didn't go was not because of a dream. The reason I didn't go is because they had promised to pay me a certain amount and then they didn't pay the full amount.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can choose who to believe there in terms of what you want. But the point is he's now missed 2 shows that he had been booked for in the UK. And the reason for the second one is just hilarious. It's just funny, man. Also, okay. At the risk of being a hater, I always assumed that we were ironically fans of Silent Killer.
No, Silent Killer is actually a great artist.
The thing that got me was the same thing that got me about Ice Spice. I thought we was joking when we were saying, oh, snap, another Ice Spice song, hello. I thought it was irony. And then I was like, wait, y'all serious? Oh. I have to admit that I thought the same about Silent Killer. Do I think he's got a lot of energy on the stage? Yes. Do I think that he can flow well in a rap style? Yes. Do I think he makes good music? I do not. Everything is under control. I mean, really, guys? I thought we was joking. I thought we were being ironic. I thought it was one of those internet jokes. But apparently, he's popular like that. So, what do I know, right?
Nothing, clearly. Because your stuff is not under control.
We had this conversation in the Patreon group as well about the new Rana Rules song. Someone in the Patreon group posted and was like, yo, am I just old now? Or everyone's like, yep, you old now because that's what the kids are listening to. The comment section of that's the song I was playing when you joined the meeting room earlier.
But the way you set up your audio, then I can never hear what you're playing.
Oh, let me see if I can change the settings because
I'll play from here.
This is not Zoom, so I should be able to give you original audio.
Go good. Go good. Dindira, Shani Sama woke with them beer. Kana arwe make up mazu imbom siya. Kati sasa just make sure tizozia. But tenga rowan usapatas no masiya. Kazi show up kasut ema shutazi. Jindo fambira LV dona tukazi. Sita holy mungazo waziva eri Saturday. Ikadini wa mungezi uno tarazinyazi. Kurume sasa izamada musazirume. Asaira wo manojka ice cream wananza zukunwe.
So, the conversation is not about, an objective measure of good. The conversation is, the conversation we have in the group is that, bruh, this is what music is now.
Yeah, that's a very old man waving at clouds.
Yes, that was the whole point of the conversation, that we are really the old men waving at clouds now because
the style of music is very established, man.
I mean, Phil, okay, you know what? Speaking for myself, I mean, I do like the bounce and the vibe of the beat, but I could never, my teeth were grating hearing the, Well, for me, the mark of an amazing rapper was the ability to enunciate clearly while riding the beat.
Well, here's another classic that is killing the game.
So what you were saying about my music on your side is the same for me. Anyway, moving on stories, Phil. Moving on. Let's go. Let's move with pace. Do you know what I've been feeling right now these days, Phil? This is my joint here. This over here. Can you hear that?
Shanda kubuda moni akaenda kumuzanzi kusera kwenda kulandani kuna panzi dada unoshita mambo pati wewe auzi wakita aita ndigeze ngumchakuzi yoneke wendipeke wo Chicago buzi no masara mosi musatipisira muruguda oropisu can choose this is not a good to it's a bad news the gunmando yanda kabata uzi wedu isusu puti ya ina
Junior Spraga, my rules. What a tune, man. This is not a good, it's a bad news. Hey, bars, son. It's not a good, it's a bad news. No, actually, whenever I hear that song, I'm like, yo. I mean, it's obviously sampling. I got a weakness for sweetness, and everyone knows. While we're on the topic of Zim dancehall artists, Ras Pompy was in the news this week for a high-speed car chase, allegedly, and eventually, when he was caught, they found drugs in his car.
So, what, were his windows not working?
The story is popular Zim dancehall artist Nyasha Reginald Mano, known to his fans as Ras Pompy, has been sentenced to 6 months behind bars. The conviction comes after a dramatic high-speed car chase with detectives and the discovery of a significant quantity of cough syrup in his vehicle. According to the prosecution, the incident began in July around 11 a.m. They were on patrol when they spotted a black Honda Fit. Let me see. Oh, the vehicle was already on a police database of cars suspected of supplying illegal drugs in the city. Guys.
There's a database.
Anyway, the story is that these police that were on patrol in the city, they were like
29.
Please check.
ABV 29. Over.
Please confirm if this vehicle's in the database. Over. Before we proceed to engaging. Anyway, the story is the officer signaled for the car to pull over. Instead of pulling over, he allegedly sped away, initiating a pursuit that wound through the streets into the Rugare suburb. The chase ended abruptly when the singer's car collided with a metal pole, allowing detectives to catch up and arrest him. When they opened it,
that would happen. That would happen.
Then they opened it. They found 100 bottles of assorted cough syrups.
Yo, in the time that they were behind, my man's gonna consume the evidence, spill it out. I feel like there was so many options.
Listen to this amazing part of this story. The estimated street value of the seizure was $396.
You know what? You got to give it to our ZRP. The ZRP, they're not resting on their laurels. You know, they're solving the big case. They're going after the big guns. You know what I'm saying? So I would have loved to see a police commissioner, do an announcement models on his desk. We'd like to announce a big dollar bust.
We've arrested some drug kingpins. We've called it Operation Breaking Bad. Okay, so the reason this was such a big conversation, partly because, yes, Ras Pompy, but it's not like he's made music recently that's really blown up or anything. The reason why it was a big conversation was because recently there were some Chinese nationals who were caught with cocaine.
That video was wild. Not only caught with cocaine. Dude, they were having they were having Diddy party. That was a Diddy party.
So the story is that they were sentenced to $150 fine.
And deported. Don't forget the deportation.
And they were deported.
Yeah.
So people felt...
And as we know, they're not coming back ever.
So people felt, okay, this just feels unfair. Not to say that Ras Pompy obviously is guilty for having, a cartel level of cough syrup in his car.
Fam. What if Pompey was just making a delivery to a pharmacy?
What if my dude was like, listen, man, I'm a dancehall artist. I'm always out in the cold every evening. I just want to buy my stock for the year.
You know what I mean? Let me buy in bulk. Because also, like with the cost of medicine in Zimbabwe, $400 worth of Broncos, what, 20 bottles?
It was 100 bottles, but yeah, it was a mix. It was Bronclear, Benylin, and Astra Pain. Yeesh. Come on, man.
Guys, no. Okay, I don't know how much Bronco is. Let me not lie. But I know how much Benylin is. Benylin is $3 to $5.
Yeah.
Yep. So five divided by... Okay, guys. Like, you could be stocking a tuck shop at these levels. These are tuck shop quality.
Well, the kingpin is off the streets. You can breathe easy again, Zimbabwe. All thanks to the stellar work of the CID Drugs and Narcotics Unit. Ding, ding.
What if they did like a CSI Miami? Horatio, remember CSI Miami when Horatio was starting the episode?
I never watched any of the CSIs full.
So CSI Miami was famous because the lead detective Horatio
did the jokes and the glasses.
Not a joke, but he was dead serious, always deadpan.
Yeah.
So he was like a pun. So like we woke up to the scene. I guess you could say he might have caught the flu.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with that from the general pop culture zeitgeist. But anyway, okay, quickly moving on, Phil. We've been enjoying our conversation here for over an hour now. Let's look as the ombudsman of tech here on this podcast, as well as the definitive professionals on the world of music. Here's a place where there's a confluence, shall we call it, of those two worlds. The story is that Xania Monet has just signed a $3 million record deal. This was announced at first I thought this was one of those, like, I think people have misunderstood the story and I need to look at this in like a official publication that I think is, yeah. Anyway, when I then went and read it on Billboard, I was like, oh. Anyway, Xania Monet is an AI artist. She's apparently been trending for a while now on the socials, on YouTube, even before like any announcements of air quotes record deal signings. But I just have some questions, Phil. I have some questions. And I hope you can come up with the answers for me, Phil. Let's assume that Xania Monet was created by a team or a person or a team.
It was created by a woman who's a writer who claims that she uses Suno to augment her lyrics and singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's assume this woman has used maybe ChatGPT /Suno / all these different things, right? To I believe her name is Talisha Jones. Let's say she uses ChatGPT to assist in writing the lyrics. She perhaps generates the vocals on Suno and generates the beat as well on Suno, or maybe even just uses some free beats on YouTube. Who is actually signing $3 million? Is it Talisha Jones, or is this somehow a payment for the rights to the name? Because what's to stop any record label from just doing the exact same thing?
Doing what exactly?
Okay, let me. You know what? for the sake of context, allow me to play a song so that we know what we're talking about.
No, that'll get taken down now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get taken down on YouTube, right? I got a ding because I talked about this on the tech show on ZFM, and when I put it up on YouTube, it got a. Anyway, it's fine. Just search for Xania. That's Xania Monet. So that's what I want to know. When we say that she signed a deal, does that mean it's Talisha Jones who signed a deal, or is there some how does it work?
That's kind of the tricky part, because according to current statutes, based on a few court cases last year, you can't own the copyright to synthetic materials. So Letitia Jones would own the rights to the composition because she says she's writing the lyrics, but she also says she's writing 90%. So it's questionable how much of the lyrics she'd own.
I mean, who's going to prove that? Talisha, by the way, not Letitia, but go on, yeah?
Yeah, and then the rights to the likeness of Xania, which is an AI-generated image, that is up for question. What the label is paying for is the right to monetize the works that are being distributed on DSPs. And it really came to the fore this past week because everyone started seeing Xania's music in all the top playlists. There was a time she was even in the top 50 South Africa, like 10 of her songs in the top 50 South Africa. Now, is that because of consumer interest and people just well, okay, who is this person they're talking about? Or is this because it's being seeded? Keep in mind, they've now, I think, 6 stories in the past year alone about AI artists, AI bands that are really blowing up because of favorable playlist placement, particularly on Spotify. So this is a sign of where the industry is going. It's a little concerning, but
aren't record labels suing Suno?
Only so that they can get shares, because they're suing them, and then now they're getting shares in Suno.
So not to stop it, just to say we want some of the money. Okay.
They're like, how dare you exploit artists without bringing us to the party? You selfish buggers.
Yeah, that's our beat.
Yeah, it's like when you've got a little brother, and you always bully him at school, and then someone else starts bullying him. So you're like, hey, wait a minute, buddy. Hey. Only I bully my brother. You don't bully my brother.
Okay. Hear me out here, right? Okay. So the way we consume music has become so interesting. Music used to be just you listen to it, right? But that's not the majority of, or let me phrase it correctly. That's not the only way music is being consumed now. Nowadays, music is being consumed, and I don't know if this is the right word, but also in places like TikTok and Instagram, where you're not listening to the music, you're adding it as a flavor to a video, or you're adding it as part of a trend. So you're not actually consuming music and listening to it. It's just a part of your video or a part of your post, right? And I know there's blurry lines in between, right? And there's probably a lot of overlap. But think about, hey, I'm doing a stupid challenge on TikTok. This is the trending song. I attach it to the video. When I watch it on my phone, I'm not listening to the music. I can hear it, but I'm not doing it to listen to the music. It could be that certain songs that I come across on TikTok as I'm going through videos and I'm watching whatever, I could be like, oh, I like this song. This sounds good. And then I search for it and add it to my playlist on Spotify, for example. At least that's how I do it. And I've observed other people do the same thing. I imagine that's genuinely what most people do, right? You use your social media platform, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, you attach music to all these posts, and there's revenue applied there, but it's a different way of consuming music. I can see how AI-generated music would be so successful in those spaces. I would see why a company like TikTok would invest heavily in AI-generated music. If they can make that the main music that people want to use in these different challenges, which is different to, for example, Spotify. I know Spotify is trying to put in place their own shady AI situations, but if normally on Spotify, I have my favorite artists that I've probably lined up in my playlists. I want to hear new music, yes, so I want to hear what's new and from certain spaces. But typically, yes, there's things that will be recommended to me from playlists that I like. But typically, I think that I'm going to have certain songs that I'll add to the playlist that I want to listen to. If there's people that also listen to music exclusively from playlists they trust, sure. If you seed an AI song into that playlist, does it have the same effect on a person who's really listening. You're listening in the gym, or you're listening while you clean up on a Sunday. So you're engaged with the music, as opposed to on social media where it's kind of an extra to something else that you're doing.
I would even say those examples you gave are passive, are sometimes passive listening.
Yeah.
We've been trained. That's passive listening. So when I go to the gym, granted, I am a bit of an edge case, but it still kind of holds true to me. I curate my gym playlist before the gym, so that when I'm at the gym, I'm not having to hit next because the songs that are playing are the songs I want to listen to. There are some times where I'm like, I'm tired of this playlist. Let me try someone else's playlist. But then it takes me out of the workout because now I'm spending most of my time skipping ahead or adding a song. So I just want to listen to the music, do the workout, whatever. The same with dishes. The same with doing passive cleaning or driving. Sometimes people just want to get into their vehicle and play what's being played to them, which is why radio is still incredibly popular across the globe, because people just want to be fed, essentially. There's a small niche of people, the music influencers, the tastemakers, who actively curate their listening experience, curate their libraries. But keep in mind, curation of libraries is dead now. Back in our day, Dan, we'd go out of our way to find music, whether go to spin along, buy the CD, rip the CD onto our hard drive, add it to Windows Media Player, add it to iTunes, update the metadata, go online, get the album artwork, make sure the credits are in place, even add the lyrics, then make sure that when you're listening on your iPod, you can bring up the lyrics and memorize the songs quicker. Like, that was very active, involved. Like we were really engrossed in the musical experience. That's very, even for me these days, like, I'm a music head, but it's very difficult for me to find the time, the energy, the resources to do that. So sometimes I just let music play in the background, or I listen to what I'm used to, because I don't actively have to engage with understanding the new concepts, right? And that's the majority of listeners. So all that to say, the majority of listeners have been trained, and the environment we're in is so that you aren't listening actively. So even if you hear a bit of artifacting or glitch or something in a voice, you're like, okay, whatever. Also because tools have become so commonplace in music, like pitch correction, auto-tune, etc. It's almost indistinguishable between a machine and a human voice. And obviously, these models have become really good at replicating human voices anyway. So people just care about, does the music make me feel good? Does the music help me study? Does the music help me wash the dishes? If it achieves those tasks, sadly, the majority of the casual listeners don't care. I was reading studies, which I can share with you here, is up to 40% of listeners in America don't care if the music is from an AI artist.
So you may ostensibly not care, but what I want to know is, when you hear it, do you still have that same? So do you feel good, for example? That's what I wanted to know. I guess obviously that's subjective, but I'm wondering. So I was listening to her music, and I felt like this is very close. It's really close. Like, there's large parts of it that you would literally think this is a human being singing, but the lyrics just felt very, a little too on the nose, but okay. And then there were just little bits where the vocals were just slight. I can't even tell what it is, but it sort of breaks the illusion of I'm listening to a real thing. So I maybe it'll get better. I don't know. Maybe it'll get to a stage where maybe it's completely imperceptible. And fine, maybe you won't notice it if it's just on while you're doing your Sunday cleaning, right? But can you really say this is my favorite song? That's can you? If no one said, let's say you don't even listen to Two Broke Twimbos. You just open your Spotify on your favorite Sunday cleaning playlist, and on there they've seeded this Xania Monet song, and you press play on it. Is it Xania?
I don't.
You press play, and you're like, wow, what vocals? Damn, who this? She sounds like Beyonce or whatever. Or I can see that happening, but then you sit down with your headphones and you press play. Would you still feel like, ooh, it's hitting that spot? You feel the same, like goosebumps, you know what I'm saying? Or nah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, the thing is, she's got mad numbers. I guess it's kind of genius. I don't know.
Well, this is an example of that. You know that arbitrage statement you dropped
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago? This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. And that's the worrying thing. Is
it providing value into the world?
not only that, it's a synthetic artist. Like it's right now, it's still gimmicky, right? And even funny enough, I'm forgetting his name, Lucian Grainson. They released a conversation
The other CEO.
at the Tropical Summit, and he was even talking about it's like there's no real emotional connection here, and that's the thing. Like I think a very very small portion of these listeners have an emotional connection with this person. It's not like, for example, Cardi B. Cardi B dropped her album. We've been seeing the discourse online, but good or bad, because her fans are emotionally invested in this person.
That's also that's a very valid point, eh? That a lot of our enjoyment of music, it's actually, yes, it happens that you'll hear something and you're like, ooh, who this? You know? But in general, we know the story of a person. We know like some of their motivations and their history and their current space, and we get invested in that. And then the song is in context of, so with Cardi B, you know, when we hear her say, you know, she's talking about on her album about her man cheating, we know the story. Okay, it's because she was with Offset, and then this happened, and and then she was dating, you know, Stephon Diggs, but then now she's got a kid, but then Stephon Diggs maybe has kids with. So all of that provides context when you actually listen to the song. She's beefing with Bia, diarrhea Bia, crazy line by the way. So the context of her real life and her story and her history, it adds to the music. So her fans will probably consume that music and enjoy it or not enjoy it with the context. If it's artificially created, this story here, it's the first AI artist with a record deal. I guess. I don't know if it's first or not, but the point is it's like in the news. So there's a bit of a story there. But when this becomes mainstream, that's not a story anymore. There's no story attached to it. It's just artificially generated music. I think that will lead people to disengaging long term. And the second thing I was going to say is, you know, your conspiracy, not really conspiracy, but your theory that you've shared about how there's so many people that are trying to enter things into the Overton window. And if, let's just say I have shares in Instagram and I'm reviewing my yearly expenses, and I realize we are paying hundreds of millions in royalties to the record labels for all the music that's used in my Instagram stories. And let's just say a certain Dan sitting in the boardroom was like, well, the thing is, like, obviously people use some of their favorite songs. So there's stuff in the back catalog that people will use in their stories because it's got certain reference and so on. But what if we started getting people used to the idea of music that is not, you know, made by original people? It could be by our own AI creations that we make using our own tool. Then we don't have to pay these royalties. Even if we could get 10% of all these stories to be using those AI created songs, how much saving is that? How much money have you saved? Hey, if one of them actually blows up, we literally own a revenue generating enterprise or brand. Son, you're promoted. Senior VP, go run with this plan. I just picked a random company, right? But like in the world of hundreds of millions to billions of dollars of entertainment, is it completely crazy to think that those who have to pay artists millions of dollars are resent the fact that I have to pay this drug-addled, you know, I was going to use some more insulting words, but you see, I don't want to make it seem like, yeah, but basically we have to pay all these different artists through the collection agencies or through the agencies or whatever the case is, you know, but the real thing is not even their music. Their music is the least important part if you think that way. I can see how people will start trying to make it normal. Just pick one. Pick an artist who's doing what. Pick an AI artist that's doing kind of well. Throw it in the news that we're giving her $3 million.
Well, this isn't the only one. There was another country AI act that got a $1 million deal same week. So also these aren't theories, these aren't hypotheticals. These are actually documented strategies. These are documented business strategies that have been spoken about for years. Spotify has been in the news for years because they've been influencing and seeding mood music, for example. So lo-fi beats
Yes.
to study to, lo-fi beats to fall asleep to. Spotify has relationships with a company like Epidemic Sounds that was disproportionately getting incredibly high placements and high streams from this. And Epidemic Sounds was making up artists. At that point, they went AIX. They were going, finding real producers, paying them, and then licensing their work out, essentially. And these guys got a one-time payment in the beginning, and then after that, Epidemic Sound was just making money with the royalties. And then that started. And then there were other companies that Spotify seemed to have interest in, including Spotify's shareholder team or management team, Exco team. And this is now expanded into the AI artist. Because the question that no one is answering, right? Xania has over 500,000, probably more by now, 500,000 users on Spotify. She's not that big anywhere else. How is it all these artists are blowing up on Spotify and not on Apple Music, not even on YouTube?
A little bit on YouTube. A little bit on YouTube. I mean, I think it's only like 30,000 subscribers, but like a couple of videos.
Let's compare 30,000 versus 500,000.
I wasn't talking about subscribers. I mean, like she's got several millions. At least I think last I checked, there were a couple of songs that had like a lot of views, and then in general, they seem to have. It's the 500,000 on Spotify is a lot in terms of monthly listeners, but that's someone once explained monthly listeners are not, you don't opt in to be a monthly listener. If you just listen to the song, you're a monthly listener.
But I know how it works, but look at the streams on the songs. She's got one song that's like on, let me pull that up. Let me not lie. I remember seeing she's got quite a few songs in the millions. So here we go. So we're on her YouTube while this is sorting. On her YouTube, this video is from her latest project, which is sitting on close to 500,000. Oh, okay. She's got, how was I supposed to know, which is on 2.4 million?
That's her most recent, at least, I don't know if it's her most recent, but 3 weeks ago, how was I supposed to know? 2.5 million. I asked for so little, 1.2 million. And then there's one just under 1 million, Prince of Peace.
Oh, in fact, you also just reminded me of something else. I'll come back to this later.
What later, Phil? Let's get it out of here because we can't have too many laters.
If you can't love me now, don't love. Yeah. So she's doing similar numbers on Spotify. 2 million, 1 million, 850. My question is, how is this music being seeded? So like, how do you even get one listener? How is that happening? That's what I want to know. How are you then growing that fan base? How are you consistently growing that fan base? At the same time, over the weekend, Dan, there's a lot of AI gospel music with insane numbers.
Really?
Fam,
that's crazy.
There's all these gospel songs, like especially targeted to kids, and they've got terrible, like, I don't even think it's VO, but it's some terrible video generation platform, and the kids will be dancing with 3 arms, and then like an arm will just appear and disappear. And these videos are sitting on millions of views. I was like, yo, you know what? If Dad, we really need to drop our models just a tad because people are making money for free.
Do you know one thing I wanted to do? And it was really just for experimentation purposes. I wanted to create an AI social media account. Just create posts, experiment with VO, try and make it as realistic as possible. Be open about the fact that it's AI, but try and see how people would, react with that. And then the reason I didn't do it is because when I sort of was planning it out in my head, I realized I would probably have to make it a female because, they get more interest for obvious reasons. And then I would probably very likely have to be trying to be suggestive with the type of account I'd be trying. And I was just like, now it feels weird. Never mind, I won't do it.
I don't even think you have to go that far. I definitely think if you made an AI account and you just made it speak Shona and relatable to the Zimbabweans,
have you seen the AI baby on TikTok that's blowing up?
Which one?
The Zimbabwean. I think there's actually several. Yeah. So the Zimbabwean one. There's the I don't know what they call it, Shona baby or Zimbabwean baby or something like that.
No, but you see, already proving my point.
It's actually just so. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's just a Zim baby that speaks in Shona. Super AI, but it's like got mad views and followers.
You see, they already saw my idea. That's the idea I would have run with because I know that will resonate in the market.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Moving on quickly. Still in the realm of music business. Oh wait, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
If someone goes to the reported Kanye West concert in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
Look, granted, going, you stand a risk. Is it going to be a 45-minute rant about
the Jews?
About hashtag them?
Mm.
Or is it going to be the most fire experience of your life as you relive college dropout, late registration? Oh my goodness. Graduation, a beautiful dark twisted fantasy. Just imagine.
Mm.
You know, it's 50-50, touch and go. You never know which way it's going to go. I was having this conversation with someone saying like, yo, if he really is coming, first of all, because they didn't trust the announcement, I have to go. I was like, aren't you worried a little bit about, you know? I was like, yeah, I'll take the risk. Like,
worried about what?
I understand. Like his general reputation and then what the show might be because of that. So for example, for myself, I wouldn't publicize that I'm going. I wouldn't post any photos and videos. But if I knew that he was going to give a fire show, I'm going. Absolutely going.
And this is how the Nazi party continues to thrive even today.
But the fact that I think that it might end up being a rally is like, you know, is this going to end into an AfriForum debate live on stage? I mean, you know, is Helen Ziller going to step out and then now we're at this thing? But I'm not judging anyone who goes, yo. That's what I'm saying. So I was going to ask you, would you judge? But you would, obviously.
I wouldn't necessarily judge it. I just move accordingly. It's like, okay, that's where you're at. Cool.
That's the definition of judging, Phil.
No. Then
implying an understanding of someone's nature based on their action. So
I don't know how else to, and maybe you're right, maybe I'm judging, but I don't know how else to parse someone who knows that this person is a Nazi, someone who knows that they're trying to do harm to people that look like you, and been saying like, hey, but you know, college dropout was so fire, you know, hey, yeah, no, college dropout.
I get that. But let me try and explain a mindset that I have. People often talk about supporting artists. When I'm consuming art, I don't consider it as supporting an artist. Unless I'm deliberately doing it just because I think you should do well, not because I'm enjoying your art. And there's several people that I'm like, you know what, you're a good person, or I know you and whatever. If I can support in some way, I will, and do whatever acts to support. But in general, outside of those situations, for me, consuming art is not about supporting an artist. For me, consuming art is doing something that I enjoy. If I like a song and I'm listening to it, I'm not doing it to support the artist. I'm doing it because it's of benefit to me. If I like Kanye West's music, I press play on it to enjoy it, not to support him, not to give him streams, not to boost his popularity. I'm not doing it for any of that. Now, I understand someone who says, you know what, because as a byproduct of me enjoying your art, I'm also supporting you. And because I don't support your actions and your beliefs, then I shall not do it. Completely understand. But I also completely understand someone who says, hey, whatever the downstream effects of supporting or not supporting you is, I enjoy this art. In fact, frankly, if I were to get like a little bit philosophical about it, we've spoken before about how probably a lot of times the most damaged people and the most problematic people make sometimes the most amazing art. I would think outside of whatever your behavior is, if someone makes amazing art, that art should be enjoyed by the very fact that it's made. The fact that a terrible person made that art, that's a whole other conversation, at least in my head.
All this is well and good, Dan, but what does this have to do with a concert? Because listening passively and actively going to a concert which directly puts money in the pocket are not the same thing.
Also true, I would argue that both situations directly put money in their pockets, but concerts, I can see how concerts you're actually closer to the person rather than the art. So I see the reasoning for that. And if someone says, I do not feel comfortable whatsoever being there, I completely understand. If someone says, don't care, want to go anywhere, I mean, you should care a little. I mean, you should care, right? But if someone says, yeah, that does bother me, but I'm not really, like, the person bothers me, but in my opinion, I'm going to listen to the music and I don't feel it's, it's compromised by the personage of who they are or whatever. I can also understand that. I felt the same way about Chris Brown's concert. There's people I know, lots of people I know who went. Lots of people. I don't look at them differently. And as far as I'm concerned, hey, you like his music. You went to go see a show of his.
Let's be very. We're now entering very slippery territory.
Mm-hmm.
You're comparing someone who's been accused of being abusive and has been found for being abusive, true a crime, true reprehensible. That's one thing. And are we equating that to someone who's actively and like openly come out as a Nazi?
I would rephrase or reframe this entire premise that you've put forward. But ultimately, I think I would be saying, look, the truth of the matter is we all have different things that we care about. If I have such a compassion and a feeling for animals, and I see animal mistreatment as the biggest issue that really affects me emotionally, to me, that's the most important thing. Yes, if we were to try to be objective, children dying in Palestine is objectively more important than that. But it could be that to me and the way that I'm emotionally affected, seeing animal mistreatment is what is actually filling up most of my mind. So as much as I may feel sympathy one way, this to me is the most important thing, even though objectively I know it's not. So I think it's kind of pointless sort of trying to rank what is worse than the other. For some people who have gone through domestic abuse, for example, or abuse in certain ways, to them, Chris Brown epitomizes the peak of what they hate in men, as an example. Objectively, they may completely understand the idea of, listen, man, this happened so long ago. He's also just like a somewhat regular dude. He's similar to a lot of other people, and, he's just living his life. And granted, a lot of the living that he's doing might not be the greatest and all that. Yeah, objectively, I may know that. But just he symbolizes the thing that I hate, that really bothers me. And I don't think it's wrong for someone to feel strongly that way. Vice versa. A white person might look at Kanye like, yeah, he's a bit of a disturbed guy. You know what I mean? He said some weird stuff and whatever. But to a black person who understands how hurtful the idea of white supremacy is, it takes on so much more meaning. So trying to rank what is better or what is worse, or which is the worse evil, yeah, perhaps we could do so objectively, but we're talking about an emotional situation because we're talking about art. So I'm not trying to equate them. I'm trying to say I can see why someone I can see why someone wouldn't be bothered by the Nazi thing, but be bothered by Chris Brown. I can see that existing in people's minds.
Yes, and that's why I was saying, like, I can also understand that, and maybe I'm very judgmental, but to me, that I would then pass the judgment, like, okay, so now I know what's more important to you.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I mean,
fair enough.
That, like, it's to me, there, and as everyone Everyone has their lines, everyone has their morals, everyone has their hard boundaries. That's where I draw mine. Like, obviously, had he not gone off the deep end, I would have loved to go to a Kanye concert.
Yeah.
But now after this, I can't. Not only that, I also have thinking like outside of the reasons why you're coming to South Africa, and I have to start thinking about who else was going to be there who aligns with your current messaging.
Also valid. Like who are the people I'll be surrounded by and who I'll be grouped in with.
Exactly. And then now I can't even, in my mind anyway, I can't even be comfortable enough to enjoy the concert because I'm like, yo, are these guys going to start moshing when, geez, what's the name of that song with Playboy Cardi?
So I don't know any his current music.
That was actually my. Oh, she on it wrong, and then you gotta go. Anyway, if that song comes on and these guys start mosh pitting, am I going to be safe? Not only just in the mosh pit, but like, am I going to get punted by a bunch of skinheads? And these are things that I would think of. These are things that I constantly think of. Especially as someone who's been to a fair share of concerts. And if you're not considering these things, by all means, like, it's your life. Do what you feel necessary. But at a certain point, your safety has to come into consideration here. And is it going to be worth it? I don't know.
So that I would consider. I think that's also a fair consideration. I would also consider, okay, his current. To be 100% honest, I also have not been paying attention to Kanye West with all these rants and all this stuff. Like, I'm not interested. It's annoying. I don't want to hear it. So, maybe I'm sitting over here not fully realizing just how far down the rabbit hole he's gone, But at the same time, if I was already in Joburg, I would consider it. I would never publicize it. I'd go with a hoodie.
So
None of y'all would know I was there, but I would consider going.
Oh, you're going to go to Kanye concert with the hoodie. Yeah, you're going to fit right in. Also, the man who's just said it on a podcast is not going to publicize it. You just did. We know. We've known you are a sellout for Kanye for quite some time. This is not a surprise to us.
Even afterwards, I'll be like, oh yeah, how did the concert go? I don't know. I heard it went well. I heard it was good. That's what I would be saying on the pod. Karaimaziwa. Okay, Phil, let's wrap things up.
All right. Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for listening. Check out Halu's new project. It's going to be out by tomorrow. I think we'll put a song from there. Check out Tuxin's new album. Jordan was on that one. It's dropping tomorrow as well. And then, yeah. Are you coming to the launch, Dan?
Sure. I just don't think I got an invite.
I literally sent you one on WhatsApp. It's literally there.
When did you send me an invite? Let me check. If I don't find an invite here, what's happening?
No,
That's
no,
right.
scroll.
Oh, yeah. I got this. Okay.
Wow. Can you see this guy?
You sent this yesterday. Yeah, no. I got this. You sent this while I was in the middle of a meeting. And I was like, I will get back to this. And I did not. But yeah, cool. Yeah. Let me do this. I'll be happy to come to this, actually. Yeah, I'll come to this.
So
That'll be dope.
Big note, we partnered with Sherman Beloy. We've spoken about him on the podcast before. He designed a bespoke artwork for the album. And we're going to be selling limited edition prints of the artwork and merchandise at the launch as well. So yeah.
Very cool. All right, boys and girls, we've had a lot of conversations on there. There's some things that we didn't touch on, and that's fine. I think we even had some listener feedback. We can leave it for next week, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but shout out to the patron.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's very in depth, but we spoke briefly about the grime scene, and then Russell, one of our listeners and patrons, sent a dissertation, pretty much a graduate school level dissertation on the grime scene, up to the it was very detailed. He even sent me an update today. The updates keep coming. So shout out to Russell. But yeah, we'll check it out. You're speaking about DJ AG set and how it blew up the grime scene in 2024. Chip had an album that dropped. He was talking about our stuff from Kifo, Javro, Leon, Lady Ice, Duppy, and Duppy's back. Wow, I can't believe they let Duppy back in the scene. Dan has no idea what about Duppy. No? What? White guy.
Duppy freestyle is what I know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, man. He talk about Scorcher and Criminal. It's one of my favorites. Scorcher, man, you're spazzing now. One of my favorite verses with the song with him, Rich 32, Wiley. Great song. You're talking about Mac 10's essence sets. Basically, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to pass this for listeners. Maybe we do a playlist. Maybe we'll do like an interactive thing. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to share this information. But it was very detailed. You know what I want to do? Russell, you should just do a blog post. This would be a great blog post, I think.
Yeah, actually.
You know?
So I do like grime music. Taz and I actually went through a bit of a period where we were like sampling some grime stuff, and we kind of like it. Some things that maybe we didn't really talk about, but just worth quickly mentioning so that they are in your general periphery. Meta launched their new smart glasses. Interesting, but scary because, Meta and privacy and all that. But who knows? Maybe that's the next form factor for technology. No more phones, now smart glasses.
Those, I think they really have become, they look really good. All the reviews have been looking amazing. And I follow quite a number of creators that already use them. So there's this guy called Erdan. He's got an account called New York Turk. I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok and Instagram. So he's a cab driver. And then during his lunch break, he just goes to restaurants in New York and reviews them. And a lot of the content that he captures is through his Meta glasses. And it's incredible. And he's really started blowing up. So,
but the new ones, did you see the launch for the new ones?
Yeah, I didn't see the launch. I saw the reviews. I wasn't going to watch the whole.
Yeah. Well, I watched the launch. It was chaos.
With the fails.
Yeah, they failed almost everything. I mean, they said it was because of a Wi-Fi DDoS situation, but they basically failed every live demo they were trying to do on stage. But yeah, anyway, I find it interesting. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it at some future date. I guess that's kind of it. Maybe a little bit of football talk, but still early in the season. We move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos, Kings of Consistency. Despite the struggles, we are here. TwoBrokeTwimbos.com/donate is the place to go to show your appreciation. You can sign up to our Patreon there. Minimum $5 per month gives you the lowest tier and allows you to join the thriving community where we have great conversations. Shout out to the group this week. It was on fire. Enjoyed some of the conversations that were in there and the jokes. People got jokes, Phil.
Yeah. The tinfoil hats are on in full effect. Everyone's joining me on the tinfoil hat side.
We must get some tinfoil hat merch, actually. TwoBrokeTwimbos.com/donate. Just a reminder, please go there. You can do once-off donation. You can go through Patreon. We must even put our EcoCash details in there for those who want to go that route. And I guess apart from that, we'll catch you in the next one. We out.